What is up, Z Fighters? It's Manga Adventures, and today I'll be doing another GT What If, this time revolving around Kale. This is a long time coming, so let's hurry up to the story. I can't wait to start. The first thing, like all my what ifs, is figuring out how strong Kale would be in Universe 7. She was based on Z Broly, since the super version hadn't come out yet, so we'll be using his feats to figure out how strong she would be. It's important to know when the movies took place that they are in a different continuity than canon, because Toei has no idea how Akira is going to tackle an arc, so they may think something will happen one way and are completely wrong. Like how in the Slug movie, that weird yellow Kaioken was what Toei thought Super Saiyan was going to look like, since it came out before its release. The fan base nicknaming it False Super Saiyan because of this, and why Goku was overly protective of Gohan in the first Broly movie, despite in canon, him knowing Gohan is stronger than the two by this point. Speaking of that movie, it's easy to figure out when it takes place thanks to Gohan and Goku. You see, Gohan was able to turn Super Saiyan, which he wasn't able to do before entering the time chamber, but Goku is still alive, meaning they haven't fought Cell yet. So the movie takes place in the week waiting for the Cell games. Next, let's look at some of the feats happening in the first movie. When Broly first turned regular Super Saiyan, Vegeta tries stopping him, but his attack doesn't so much as phase him as he's focused on Goku. He then turns into Berserk Super Saiyan and is manhandling Piccolo, Super Saiyan, Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan at the same time. They can barely land a hit on him. They can't outrun him, and when they do land a hit, he smiles and eats it up. These are clear indicators that he was twice as strong as everyone else. I only say twice because Goku was able to win the fight with one punch thanks to gaining the Z Fighters' energy, though it's essential to know that they were all weakened and none were Super Saiyans except Goku when they transfer over the energy. Ready your pitchforks, but I don't think Broly could have beaten Teen Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but I believe he would be around perfect Cell levels, not super perfect Cell though, because of the punch. His Zenkai in the second movie will surprise you. This is where you have to remember we are in a movie continuity. Toei did not know Gohan had gotten weaker in the 7-year time skip by the time this was made, so they assumed he had continued his training, making him stronger than in canon. He was able to fight against Super Saiyan Broly in his base, meaning he would be more powerful than Super Saiyan Vegeta back in the Cell games. Now multiply that by 100 for Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and you have ridiculous power. Vegeta and Goku were only stated stronger than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan as Super Saiyan 2s. So even if as Super Saiyans, they were equal to Super Saiyan 2 Gohan during the Cell games, this version of Gohan as a Super Saiyan 2 would still be 25 times stronger than them bare minimum. Meaning, not even if they both turn Super Saiyan 3s would they stand a chance. The canonical Buu arc would be a joke for this Gohan, and to top things off, Broly, in his Berserk form, was still stronger than him. Meaning this Broly got at least 100 times Zenkai. Now that power scaling is over, we know how strong she is initially, and that every Zenkai makes her 100 times stronger. So let's start the story officially. Kale was born around age 737 with a power level higher than King Vegeta's. Because of this immense strength, the king feared she may become a threat to the empire, so he ordered the infant's execution. Kale's father, Paragus, begged the king to spare the child's life, saying that his daughter could be extremely valuable to him and his son. The king agrees, but also points out that she could overthrow the Saiyan royal family. He closes the argument by sentencing Paragus to death, though the Saiyan refused to die and breaks free from the guards. The king orders his men to chase after Paragus while he figures out why Frieza has called all the Saiyans to the homeworld. We already know how that goes, with Frieza killing him then throwing a death ball at the planet. So at the same time Bardock was fighting Frieza's forces, Paragus was fighting his fellow Saiyans, making his way to Kale. When he arrives, he has no time to waste and quickly throws Kale in a pod, launching her into an unassuming planet, hoping that she may one day get revenge on the royal family. When he tries to enter himself, he's blasted by a Saiyan guard. So while Goku landed on Earth by himself, Kale landed on planet Gelbo. Like Earth, this planet was peaceful, outside of Frieza's radar, and no resources would cause the tyrant to head that way. They both land near surrogate families that take them in, only to kill them during a full moon. That's where the similarities between the two end. While Goku only had Grandpa Gohan and was in the middle of nowhere, making him blissfully ignorant on what happened to his loved one, Kale was in a heavily populated village, killing a majority of its villagers who were lucky enough to figure out to cut her tail before she headed to another village. The only reason they didn't kill her is because she woke up before they had a chance, and they were too scared to try, though she is thrown out the village and is called a monster. This is where we'll see the stark difference in personalities between her and Z Broly. While Z Broly's behavior became more maniacal and erratic as he matured due to his power and the traumatic events during his infancy, Kale, on the other hand, was a very meek and timid individual, showing great insecurity and lack of self-confidence. She openly believes herself to be a monster. She spends the rest of her life alone. The only interaction she gets is from the kids that taunt her while throwing stones. This is the cause of her self-confidence, to the point that it comes off as socially awkward, and unlike Goku, she doesn't branch out to fight new and stronger opponents. Speaking of Goku, let's skip forward a few decades. We already know about the events of Z, but for those of you who don't know GT, I'll catch you up. The story takes place 15 years after the defeat of Majin Buu. Goku has just finished training Oob, the reincarnation of Majin Buu, and was wished to be a kid again by Pilaf thanks to the Black Star Dragon Balls, which scatter across the universe, and if are not gathered within a year, the planet they were used on blows up, in this case, Earth. So Kid Goku, Trunks, and Pan, the daughter of Gohan, set off to find them. This, you guessed it, leads them to planet Gelbo, and the interaction would go something like this. The trio would arrive on the planet looking for the Black Star Ball, which would have landed somewhere near Kale, who picks it up and takes it with her because it looks nice. The three would easily find Kale thanks to their living dragon radar Gil, but the girl is scared to death of them, cowering in fear when she sees them. They tried confronting her, saying they're only here for the Dragon Ball, but she doesn't listen. They're soon interrupted by an earthquake that snaps her out of it. She pushes through our heroes to check on the village right beneath them, seeing them being terrorized by the catfish monster Zuma. She mutters her first words, "We have to help." The three figured if they help, they'd be able to get the Dragon Ball. So Goku and Trunks go while Pan stays with Kale. Pan tries talking to Kale, asking what's her name, why she's alone, etc. But the woman refuses to answer, so the girl quickly gives up, though she catches Kale's attention when she pulls out a candy bar, happily sharing it. This lets Kale open up a little more as she bashfully says, "Thank you," and finally introduces herself. The touching moment is ruined when the members of the village throw rocks at Kale's home, screaming this is all her fault, which causes her to cower in fear once again. Pan, being the brash kid she is, steps outside to see the reason for all this, and the villagers explain that they think she's working with the monster that caused the earthquakes. This upsets Pan, who chases them off saying she's trying to help you idiots. Pan then asks why Kale lets them talk to her like that, and Kale responds with, she's used to it, and that they're right. She is a monster. She caused so much damage before, but now all she wants to do is make sure they don't get hurt like that again. That's why she cut off her tail when it regrew, and that's why she's trying to save the villagers from Zuma and any other threat. Pan is moved by her words and says she's amazing, and that they'll stop Zuma and get the whole village to love her. Kale cracks a smile and nods her head. While this was going on, Trunks became a bride of Zuma and was taken to his lair because GT logic. Why kill something when you can go with a wacky plan? Kale and Pan follow close behind, finding the lair of Zuma. When they enter, it turns out that Zuma can't control the earthquakes, only predict them. One such earthquake erupts the volcano Zuma was using as his lair. With Kale being too scared to move, Pan is the one to swoop in and save her while Goku stops the volcano with a Kamehameha. With Zuma having learned his lesson and the village safe, Pan announces that this was all thanks to Kale. She nudges and gives Trunks and Goku a glare until they agree with her. The village is hesitant, but if she promises not to harm them again, she's welcome to come back. This fills Kale with tears since she doesn't know how to react, but Pan pats her on the back saying everything will work out. Kale thanks Pan for everything she's done and offers her the Dragon Ball, but it begins to float away. An alien bounty hunter disguised as a villager grabs it and heads to the ship. The Z-Fighters are shocked and begin to chase him, but Kale grabs Pan's hand. It's my fault the ball is gone, so can I? The words struggle to come out her mouth, but Pan finishes her sentence. Come with us? Are you sure? The village has accepted you. Kale happily nods at the response and begins following the trio onto the ship. And while Goku and Trunks are confused at first, they don't have time to question it because the ball is going fast. Now, I'm going to skip over the hunt for the Black Star balls because the adventures there weren't much of a challenge for the trio. So adding Kale wouldn't change much, though there was one opponent they met they thought they defeated but had made its way to Earth. The Tuffle parasite known as Baby. The Tuffles were originally inhabitants of planet Vegeta, before the Saiyans took over, killing them all. Though the king managed to create this parasite, transferring over his intelligence to it. With revenge on his mind, he vows to kill the remaining Saiyans. His ability made things difficult for the Z-Fighters, still on Earth. He wasn't necessarily stronger than them, but if he was able to cause even the slightest damage, let's say a cut on the arm, he can take over their bodies. Not just one either. He could control multiple fighters, creating a sort of hive mind with the original Baby, also in the strongest person. He started with Goten, then takes control of Gohan, and finally Vegeta, making a home in the prince's body just in time for Goku and the others' arrival, who have just finished gathering the Black Star balls. Pan is decided to show Kale her family, but is in for a rude awakening when the infected family members begin attacking her, only saved by Goku. She's battered and bruised, the little girl crying, not understanding why they're doing this before passing out. Kale watches as her first friend who saved her from loneliness, who saved her life, and had so many countless adventures with, is in both physical and emotional pain, snaps, not knowing how to process these emotions, transforming into her berserk form for the first time. Still, if you remember, at the start of the video, she's only as strong as Perfect Cell. So to say she's a liability is an understatement. She's quickly tossed to the side by Gohan, not able to land a single enraged hit, and is blasted next to Pan. Though luckily for the two female Saiyans, Mr. Satan and Boo are nearby, rescuing the two girls and healing them up, allowing them to gain Zenkais. The four of them regroup, wondering what they should do next. And while this is going on, Goku was defeated by Baby Vegeta, but is rescued by the Supreme Kai, who takes him to his world to pull out Goku's tail. The Elder Kai thinking this will give him a major increase in power. As this is happening, Pan has decided to rescue her family, trying her best to talk to them in hopes of snapping them out of Baby's control. Though this doesn't work and Pan is strangled by her father. Before Kale could do anything, she's saved by Oob, who's strong enough to hold off Gohan and even attract the attention of Baby Vegeta. Now, Oob is unable to hold a candle against a newly transformed Baby Vegeta and is beaten handily. Though on the sidelines, Kale is contemplating her worth. This is the second time she could not save Pan. If this goes on, she could die. She has to fight, she can't lose her friend. With this mindset, she slips into the berserk form once again. But even with 100 times Zenkai, wouldn't be enough to beat Baby. Now let's pause to do some power scaling. I know everyone who hasn't watched GT is like, how could 100 times Zenkai of someone as strong as Cell not be enough? This is also a good segue to show just how strong the threat of Baby is. Goku, by the Buu arc, was stronger than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. meaning he would be stronger than Super Perfect Cell. But even if you want to argue that they are evenly matched, because I know some people will, add the Super Saiyan 3 multiplier on top of that, Goku is at least 4 times stronger than Super Perfect Cell. In GT, Goku's base is as strong as Super Saiyan 3 during the Buu arc. Due to training with Oob, the reincarnation of Kid Buu, someone who was evenly and arguably stronger than Super Saiyan 3 for 5 years and training on his own 10 years before that. So add the 400 times multiplier of 3, so you get a Super Saiyan 3 Goku who's 1600 times stronger than Perfect Cell in GT. So now we know why the 100 times multiplier wouldn't be enough. Now let's see how strong Baby is on top of that. When Baby controls Vegeta and his hair turns white, that's his version of base Super Saiyan. That transformation is as strong as Super Saiyan 3 Goku, which isn't good because he has 2 forms left that mimics the other Super Saiyan forms. Super Baby, Baby's version of Super Saiyan 2, meaning it's a 2 times multiplier, and Super Baby 2 is his version of Super Saiyan 3, meaning it's 4 times Super Baby. All this adds up to Baby being 8 times stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku and 12,800 times stronger than Super Perfect Cell, or in this case, Berserk Kale. Back to the story, Kale may not have beaten Baby, but she bought Oob enough time to reunite with his other half, Fat Buu, to become Majub. Now whole again, Majub is as strong as Super Baby 2, the two going back and forth for a good while, until Majub slips up trying to turn Baby into chocolate, but Baby redirects the attack, turning him into chocolate instead. Baby eats his most formidable foe, but has no time to celebrate because Goku arrives, thinking he's stronger with his tail. Goku once again tries fighting Baby as a Super Saiyan 3, but Baby scowls, saying you didn't get stronger at all. Goku, having lost for a second time, looks up at the earth, causing him to transform into a Golden Great Ape, a 10 times multiplier of Super Saiyan 3 or a 4,000 times multiplier of base. My reasoning for this is because Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who is 8 times weaker than Baby, was able to overwhelm him after transforming into the Golden Great Ape. We know the regular Great Ape form is a 10 times multiplier, and 500 times Goku's base, Great Ape mixed with regular Super Saiyan, wouldn't be enough to beat Baby. Now Goku has the upper hand but has no control over himself. Pan, tired of seeing her family members act out of character, tries her best to snap Goku out of his rampage by showing him a picture of everyone together at the beach. This surprisingly works, causing Goku to take control and transform into Super Saiyan 4, which, believe it or not, is also a multiplier. But I'll explain why it is in a second. Let's get to the part where Goku finally gives Baby a taste of his medicine. He's absolutely dominating this once overwhelming threat who isn't even fast enough to get away. But unfortunately for Goku, a Baby-possessed Bulma invented a machine that could transform Baby into a Golden Great Ape as well, giving him a 10 times multiplier similar to Goku. This becomes an even match between Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Golden Great Ape Baby, which shouldn't be the case unless Goku, after transforming into a Super Saiyan 4, got a multiplier. Baby was always 8 times stronger than him throughout the story, so the multiplier would be 8 times the Golden Great Ape, or 32,000 times base. The two are so evenly matched they beat each other until neither can move. During the conflict, the Supreme Kai uses the sacred water from the Garlic Jr. saga to free everyone from Baby's control, though they're unable to reach Bulma before she fires Bloods waves, the things that turn Baby into Golden Great Ape in the first place, returning him to full strength. Goku, still weakened, asks for the energy of all the Saiyans freed from Baby's control, which just so happens to be the exact amount needed for the Super Saiyan God ritual, which I found funny because GT was only 1 Saiyan short, though Baby doesn't give them time. But luckily Oob had turned himself into chocolate on purpose to get the jump on Baby on the inside, this stalling the enemy long enough for Goten, Gohan, Pan, Trunks, and Kale to turn Goku into his Limit Breaker Super Saiyan form. The battle from this point is too easy. Goku cuts off Baby's tail, reverting him to normal. Baby, not wanting to die, leaves Vegeta's body and tries to escape only to be stopped by a ×10 God Kamehameha. With everything back to normal, the Z Fighters rebuild the damage is done, awaiting the next threat. But who knows who that could be. This is where I'll end part 1. I thought of only doing one part, but this was just too much fun. The reason it took so long initially because I felt like people wouldn't want to sit through the recruitment of Kale part, so that kind of just made me lose a little motivation. But what really energized me was the GT power scaling, figuring out the multiplier for Super Saiyan 4. And if you guys think it's different, tell me why. I don't agree with Chuck's video for the sole purpose he got the multipliers for Super Saiyan 2 and 3 wrong. In the video, he showed the multiplier's official guide. And yes, it did say ×2 of Super Saiyan. But right below it, it said ×100 of normal power strength or base power. No, his original argument was grade 3 was 10 times stronger than Super Saiyan, which makes it a 500 times multiplier. Is false because Super Saiyan 2 is only 100 times multiplier. So we have to put grade 3 somewhere between the regular Super Saiyan 50 times and Super Saiyan 2 100 times. I personally put it at 88. What do you guys put it at? So that's why he got such a ridiculously high number, because 500 times 4 is like a 2,000. So it's just insanely high. Now, before I sign off on this video, I have a question I'm sure you guys would love to answer. Since God Ki was introduced in the story, do y'all want me to mix in elements of Super or stay solely on GT? I'll leave a poll, check my community tab, but I can do either. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this and can't wait to see you in part 2.